Okay, so thank you very much, all of you, for this time today. Today we are going to start Software Business Analysis Essentials Part 1. Give me one quick second, please. Just 1 second. So this is going to be a very important class for you guys as a beginner business analyst. The total class, like Software Business Analysis Essentials 1, we will be completing in at least 2 classes or more than that. That depends how soon you're connecting with me and how is your understanding going on with the subject. And this will be like a foundation course for you. So please pay full attention to this one. This is going to be really a key milestones for you guys. In this class, not today, throughout the course, the part 1, we will be discussing a lot of things, a lot of the backgrounds about the requirement, how things works, what is your roles and responsibilities, how and what business is expecting from you, all those basic things as a beginner. So I have refined the course materials considering you guys are the beginners. So I have removed all those technical, big things. I don't want you guys to get confused. So, but this is going to be really helpful for you guys. So I'm requesting you to please pay full attention. And just in case if you have not seen the previous videos, there's chapter 1, chapter 2, please go ahead and see that before you actually go ahead and take this class, because you will feel lost if you have not seen the previous videos in the classes. So let's get started then. So this is the agenda for the whole course. As I said, we will be completing in 2 or 3 classes. I'll try to close in 2 classes, but this might take more than 2. That depends, but that is perfectly fine. The purpose is we have to understand things. So I'm going to go ahead and discuss with you like the background and the introduction of the business analysis and the requirements as well. And then, what is your roles and responsibilities when I'm saying requirement gathering and all those things? So what actually you do, we will study here. And I'll also let you know some skills and attributes of a business analyst. If you are a business analyst, what skills and attributes you must have to succeed in this field within the IT industry. So those things we will try to cover in this course. And then I'll give you a little bit flavor and idea. How do you elicit requirements? What are the techniques you should be using when you're actually eliciting the requirements? This elicitation is different than the requirement gathering. So just giving you a little background. I've spoken this before as well, and we will continue talking all these points so you can just refresh your ideas and you can learn more. And then once you have the requirement capture, how do you do the analysis on those requirements? And then how do we define the requirements? So this requirement definition probably we will be doing in the next class. This is going to be kind of a full class. And here we will talk what is requirement, what drives the requirement, what are the different aspects of the requirement, what happens when we do not collect the correct requirements, how is this impacting business, project, and you, and all those stuff. And I'll give you some facts, the data, what happens when we are not capturing the correct requirements. So all those things we will be discussing in this requirement definition part of this course. And then, how do we handle the requirement changes? So in traditional waterfall, there's a way of accepting the change request during the requirement. Once I have captured something and business wants to change it. So what is the process? How do we change it? So we will discuss all those things during this course. And I'll give you a little bit idea about the traceability metrics. Now, what is this metrics? Why do we use it? What is the life cycle of this traceability metrics? What is the benefit? And if we should be using or not, we will discuss in detail. So some of the questions you will definitely will be asked in the interviews about the traceability metrics. They will ask you, what is traceability metrics? What is your understanding? When do you create traceability metrics? What is the life cycle of the traceability metrics? And probably the interviewer may ask you something about the types of the metrics, like, they would want to understand your understanding on the forward and the backward traceability metrics. So all these things we will be studying within this course within the next 2 or 3 classes. Right, so what is the objective? Probably today, the objective is you will understand what is the roles and responsibilities of a business analyst, what is the requirement, and what is the role of a requirement in the project. How do we define requirements and how do we manage requirements? So all those things we will be, you will understand after this course. And probably you will also get a little bit flavor on the use case concepts. Now I'm saying a little bit flavor, so don't worry about that. We will have a separate classes where we will study in detail about the use case and everything. But I'll try to give you a little idea so that you know what exactly is this. And then you will be able to create, some of the modeling diagrams. When I'm saying modeling diagrams, this may also include use case and other things as well. So what actually is going to look like, we'll study. And then you will be able to create the software requirement specification documents. SRS is the main document that serves as a contract between the development team and the business. This is like a technical requirement documentations. We have one more, BRD, the business requirement documentation, which is core kind of simple layman English language documentation that is initially we write, and then we convert those requirements into the technical documentations. The same thing technically we convert, and that we name it software requirement specification documents. So we will discuss in detail about all those documents. But today probably I'll give you a little bit idea. Now you should be able to apply the techniques to any of the real-time use cases, or the case studies in business analyst world, and when you are going ahead and capturing the requirement. And obviously I'll give you some important tips, which is very important, so stay tuned. Key points, as I've always been telling you guys, you do not have to try to memorize or anything. You don't need to, unless you see this symbol. So wherever in any of the slides, any of the materials, if you see this red symbol, that means you have to memorize all those things. So I will try to keep it very minimal because I don't want you guys to just memorize and forget tomorrow. It's like human nature. We memorize something today and we tend to forget tomorrow. So don't try to do that. Instead, try to understand the concepts behind all those things. Ask as many questions you can, and I will answer. Okay, some key terms that I'll keep updating during the courses. You might see some of the words repeating. You might see some of the new words added. The purpose behind having this page is these are the broadly used terms that you will always hear in your business analyst journey throughout your career. So you'll hear people talk using the word like scope creep, gold plating, all those things. So we have discussed most of these words before in the previous classes. Couple of new things I believe I have added here is probably the engineering and the UAT, and there was one more. So engineering, when I'm saying, I'm referring to the technical team, the developers. When I'm saying engineering team, this might include the development team, which is the developers, the software developers, plus the QA, the quality analyst folks who actually do testings. This may also include your database team members and the front end, back end developers, everyone. So we refer as an engineering team or development team. So this includes everyone. And then UAT is nothing but user acceptance testing. So whatever you develop, somebody from the user, from the business side, has to test and approve those changes if those are as per the requirement or not. So we will be learning more about the UAT processes, and you will keep hearing these terms like engineering and all those terms. So keep an eye on this thing, and you see here the red symbol. So you have to kind of memorize these terms so that you're not feeling lost when somebody is saying, there was a scope creep. Sorry about the tongue twister. So you should not be confused. If someone is using the word gold plating, you should not be confused. What the hell is this guy talking all about when he says gold plating? So you should be aware about all those things. Now, if you don't know, I've already spoken in the previous classes. You go and see the video. You will learn more about all those things. All right, so let's get officially started. Introduction and definition. So who is a business analyst? In simple words, who is a business analyst? There could be like hundreds of definitions of a BA, but I believe these are the main things that you should be knowing. As a BA, you should know who the BA is and what BA does. We'll see in the next slides. So BA is someone who is liaising between IT and engineering team and the customer, improving the quality of IT services and analyzing business needs. What does it mean? You will be working as the mediator, like you will bridge the gap between the business and the development team. Business has some idea, some problem, some issue, some requirement that you will go and understand. And you also have some engineering team who will be actually working, developing those things as per the business needs. So in ideal cases, BA is playing a very key and crucial role in between, who is like bridging the gap between the development team and the business. So you will understand the requirement from business, passing it to the engineering team. And if engineering team has any questions, you will pass it back to business if you cannot answer those questions. So that's the main role you're doing. This is a very important role. Why important? Because if I, as a BA, do not understand things clearly, I may not be able to pass it on correctly. So that there will be a different version of the requirement. So business may ask something, I may understand something, and I may make someone understand something else, and then now you can understand the flow, how the requirement is going to be delivered. Obviously, this will not be what customer expected. So this is very important for you as a BA to understand the requirement properly and try to bridge the gap between these two parties. So the requirement could be anything. Requirement could be improving the quality of any existing IT services, could be developing something new, could be business doesn't need as of now. There's no need, but you as a BA analyzing different facts and data, and you're recommending things to the business. You know what, I know you don't need something right now, because this is what I have been observing, and as per the trend, it looks like you would need definitely going onwards. So why don't you take a look and think about this one? We can take it forward. So that is also one of the roles of a business analyst, to help improve the processes, help improve the services, the technology, and the business. So this is one of your key roles. You will not be limited to understanding the requirement. You will also be doing all those additional things, which is part of your job and responsibilities as well. So I think I have discussed all these 3 or 4 points. You are responsible for capturing the requirement efficiently, and you are someone who is actually trying to understand what business needs. When I'm saying the problem could be anything. Business is facing some of the problems, and business doesn't know how to take it forward. So you are the one who will work very closely with business and try to understand their problems and suggest them the solution. That is your role, and obviously a BA has to be a problem solver. When I'm saying problem solver, as in it's not actual problems, could be business needs, all those things. And when the development team is working on something, they may have other form of the problems that you will be working very closely with them to understand their need, answer their questions if you can, based on your experience and the captured requirement. If you cannot, you will go back to business and you will ask, and you will answer back to the development team. So what does a BA do? If you go to Google or any other form, like YouTube and all, you will find hundreds and thousands of responsibilities for a BA. Every video and every website has a lot of things. They all are kind of common, but they say differently. For me, I would like to categorize everything within these 3 major categories, and within these 3 categories, you can have n number of different responsibilities for the BA. So BA, what actually BA does? Very simple. You have to gather the requirement. Once it is gathered, you have to elicit the requirement. Now, again, what is the difference between requirement gathering and requirement elicitations? I have spoken this in detail in the previous videos, but we'll continue to talk about all those things. So elicitation is like doing a little further. Once you have captured the requirement, elicitation is actually kind of understanding what is needed and how can we do this thing. And when you capture the requirement gathering is nothing but what is needed. How and when probably we can do when we are doing elicitations, or we are analyzing those requirements. So as a BA, you have to first collect the requirement from business, elicit the requirement, working with the business, with your development team and all, and then you analyze further, how do we take things forward, and then you document all those requirements in some of the forms. The standard form is BRD, business requirement documents. And in different companies, they name it differently. Now, some of the companies, they call it CBR, customer business requirement. Someone calls FRD, functional requirement documentation. And some of the companies, they call it BRD. In some of the companies, they only have SRS and nothing. And they use that SRS as the same documentation as a BRD and as an SRS both. So you will find a different names, in different companies, but the idea is same behind all those documents. You have to document whatever the requirement you have collected from the business, and then you will review all those requirements with your engineering team, with your manager, with your peers, with your business, and finally you have to take approval from the business. On what basis you will know this requirement is final, there will not be any changes. So the base is you have to baseline these things. And what do you mean by baseline? Baseline is like officially approved documents. So business will review your document and business will approve it if they do not find any changes or they do not find any issues, conflicts. They will say, okay, this is what exactly I want you guys to develop. So please go ahead, and they will provide you an official sign off through email or maybe through written documentation with the stamp and sign. It all depends how your company works. So this is very important. Now, the different phases and different ways of collecting, eliciting, analyzing things we'll discuss in later on in different classes. Business analyst actually is a customer face. You will be representing customer, business, or the user to the development or engineering community. What does it mean? It means business may or may not directly interact with the development team. I am a developer and I'm working on some of the requirements. I am writing codes. If I have any questions, I may not be always able to reach out to business and ask them the questions. There could be many reasons, some process flows that business company has defined where probably a business analyst will only be the person who will be interacting with business just to avoid confusions and our different commitments. Or probably business is super busy that the business does not have time for every individual developer's interactions. There could be any reason. So in that case, basically, where the developer is going to go and ask the questions, obviously the business analyst, because business analyst is someone who has good understanding of the requirements. So he will or she will only be the person who will be answering those questions. So if there's a question coming to your way, so you will go and see your documentations and try to find an answer on your own. You would also not want to go ahead and touch with business in every single questions. If you cannot find, and if this is stopping your development team to go ahead and work, probably you will go back to the business, ask the questions, and you will answer. So there are different ways of answering those questions. You can simply ask and pass on like a postman, or you probably can write some documentation, review with business, have some sign off, go back and tell the development team. You can simply call a meeting with everyone, virtual meeting or face-to-face meeting. That depends how you're working. And you can call everyone, the development team, probably the entire development team, or just someone from the team who needs this answer, and the business and you. And obviously you may also invite some other folks in the call, and you guys can answer, discuss and answer those things. So you will be working like a facilitator, and this is a very important role for you. Now, obviously, you have to supervise testing. What does it mean? It means because you know what business needs. So once the development is done and unit testing is done and something has been deployed to the QA environment where people can test, So what does it mean by QA environment? This means probably before I officially invite business for the user acceptance testing, I would want to test it before that so that we can find all possible errors, problems, and fix it before we actually call the business, So we have certain environment created. We call it, the quality testing, the QA. This will be probably mostly internal to the development team and the internal QA team. So once the unit testing is done, we will test the end-to-end functionality in the QA environment. And here, BA plays a very crucial role because BA is the only person, probably one of the persons who understand the details of the requirements. So BA probably might take a lead and do the testing on his or her own, or probably he or she can ask or invite the development team to test and show her him the results, so that the BA can verify with the actual requirements and see if everything is at as per the acceptance criteria and as per the agreed requirements or not. There may be a lot of things, you might some problems, issues, and then you will get it fixed and then you will move. And then BA, under the testing processes, BA will invite the users, the business, actual business, they will come and they will test and they will approve. So probably you may still get some of the issues from business. The issues probably we missed to find in the QA processes, or probably business may have changed their mind and they want to add something or remove something from there. So that could be one of the processes. But how do we handle all those things? We will discuss detail in the further classes. I see someone has raised a hand. Any questions? Please go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, like, does apart from gathering and eliciting the requirements, so the BA has to do the testing as well with the QA team, or the BA, the analyst does it separately, like?
Okay, the question is it required that BA has to do testing on his own, like hands-on? The answer is no, but this is highly recommended. The ultimate responsibility lies with the QA folks, the QA team. They will do the testing and they will give you the results, the test results, right?
Okay.
Probably they may not give you the test result. They will simply fail or pass it, and they will send it back to the development team for the rework. And then again goes to the QA and they test and pass it. And then they move it to the next environment, which is the UAT environment. But as a BA, this is highly recommended for you to keep an eye on those everything, because you don't want to face a situation where business is finding issues in the UAT and then everybody is like embarrassed. Okay, how did you guys do UAT testing, internal testing, the low level testing? Why did not you find these issues? So we don't want to waste business time. So this is highly recommended for a BA to keep an eye on the test results. If you have bandwidth, if you have time, please go ahead and do some hands-on. I know you may not be able to do the technical testings if you're not technical, but you would obviously be able to do end-to-end testings. The component testing you cannot do, the automation scripts you cannot do. You cannot do automation testing. So this is core technical for you. This might be core technical for you. If you're technical enough, that is fine. Otherwise, you would want to avoid these testing, but you would want to see the test results. And you will see, okay, what has happened, and you will verify the test results with your requirement, and then you will be in a situation to know if everything is as per the requirement or not. So that is the whole process. As a BA, you should be focusing on.
Okay.
Now, just to add a point, we are talking with reference to the traditional waterfall software development lifecycle. We are not talking anything about the agile. The agile way of working has entirely a different way of handling these things. So this training is basically focused on the traditional waterfall. So don't get confused. I have no idea if we will have time to go for the agile way of working training as well. Nowadays, like almost all the companies, 90% of the companies are moving towards agile. So they want you to learn agile as well, agile way of handling things and agile way of working. But to get the actual field knowledge and the expertise on the BA things, it is important for you to understand the traditional waterfall way of working. And then you can easily switch to agile way of working. So we'll discuss later on. So the answer to your question might be completely different when we work agile way of, we do the agile way of testing and all. All right,
Okay.
so
Thank you.
So the next. What is the roles and responsibilities? This is the continuation of the same topic, and this will be like taking a little time for us to understand in detail. This is very important. You have to really be very focused on this topic. What is software development life cycle, and what is your role in each of the phases of the software development life cycle? As I have been telling you before as well, People will be asking, interviewer will be asking you questions 100%. Okay, what do you understand about this SDLC and what is your roles and responsibilities in each of the phases? Can you help me with an example of your current project? So this is a very important question. So please pay attention to this one. So there are different phases of the software development lifecycle. We have studied in the previous videos. If you have not seen, please go and see it. First starts with the requirement gathering. The first phase of the software development lifecycle is to understand what is the requirement. So as a BA, what is your role? You are playing a very key role. You will be the only one, or probably the one of the folks who will initially interact with business and understand the requirement. What is the need? The project need, the product need. Product need or project need could be from the internal business or from the external business as well. Internal as in within your own company, within your own organization, there's a separate business who is dealing directly with the customers. They may be raising some request, and within the same company, you have a different IT team who is actually developing all those things. So we'll be interacting internally with the business, or probably some other company may be also giving you the requirements. So that depends what environment are you working. Are you working in like product development kind of company, or are you working in the service-based companies? So that depends. The product-based companies, probably you will be mostly be dealing with the internal clients, and service-based you will be mostly dealing with the external clients. Once you have captured the requirement, you do analysis. Now, BIA also plays a very important role during this analysis phase. So what happens once you have captured the requirement from different sources? You will have to reconcile everything. You have to find the conflicts. You have to decompose the high level the requirement into smaller chunks. When I'm asking, I need a big house. This is a like very vague term, the very big requirement. I have to decompose this in the smaller things. What do you mean by big house? Okay, so the decomposing would be, I need 4 bedrooms. I need like 2 bathrooms or 3 bathrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. I would need like 500 square feet kind of a backyard, all those things, So you have to decompose that into smaller chunks so that the requirements becomes more clear. And because you understand the requirement, you will have to do this one. But are you doing it alone? No, you're not doing it alone. You may not have that expertise of further like breaking it down into smaller chunks. Who will you work with? Obviously, you will work mostly with your development team, your technical team who is actually going to work. So they will give you the idea. You will explain them the requirements, and they will help you with the feedback, the inputs, and then probably you all collectively will be making it in a smaller chunks, doing further analysis, finding what is possible, what is not possible, and what is something can be done differently. All those things you will be doing during the analysis phase, right? And then next comes the design phase and the software development lifecycle. So obviously, if you're building a house, you need some architecture. You cannot build a house without the architecture. If you're doing some IT projects, you need something. Otherwise, you will not be able to do these things. So in the design phase, you are not doing this thing directly, but you will be working very closely with the designers, the UI UX teams. We call it user interface teams. User interface or user experience team. UI, user interface, UX, user experience. UI could be the persons who will be actually drawing those things. User experience could be someone from the business side who will let you know what is the design interface they need, what kind of the screens they would like to see, what kind of bedroom they would like to see. So based on your requirement that you have captured, you will help the designers understand those requirements, and designers will develop those prototypes, the wireframes, the designs for you, and then you will go ahead and review with business, and you will get it approved and upload to the document. Now, in this phase, obviously your emphasis changes from business to the computer solutions. In gathering and analysis, you're actually trying to understand what business needs. Now, during the design phase, obviously you're working more to finding out what is how do we actually take things from it? How do we do these things? So your emphasis changes from what to how. Remaining 2 phases are development. No, we have more pages. So the next page is development and coding. Now, once we have the design completed, approved, now the developer will actually go ahead and start writing codes and building. Now the architecture is finalized, the land is finalized. We have done all those, the analysis on the cost, the place, everything. Now the workers will actually go and start building your house. So in IT field, we call it development or coding. During this phase, BA has a very limited role. BA is not writing codes. BA is not lighting building those houses. BA will be supervising and monitoring things. So you will have a very limited role in this phase of the software development lifecycle. Here, the developers will actually be working, and you will only be answering the questions. If they have any questions, you will answer the question. As I said, if you do not have the answer, you will go and discuss with business, come back and tell them. So you will just clarify their doubts and nothing else. So you will still be playing a good role, like sitting in the middle and monitoring and seeing if things are going as per the plan or not. So probably you will see what we have done, like 3 weeks of development. Say an example. So as per the plan, did we really complete it? Did we really complete all those things that we planned? Actually, we initially had planned we will be completing 5 items in next 3 months. So did we complete all those 5 items? All those tracking kind of things you will be doing. Then testing. During the testing, what happens? Testing has like 3 different phases. The one is the unit testing, where the developer will be testing and developing, and they will be testing. So you don't have to do anything with that phase. Once the unit testing is done and the things has moved to the QA folks, the QA team will be testing. Then again, you will be playing a very key role, and you will not be testing. You may not be testing it directly, but you will be helping the QAs also understand things. They may have questions as well. They may ask you the questions. So you will help them understand what is the need. And obviously you will see if the requirement is as per the business needs or not. When I'm saying acceptance criteria, what are the acceptance criteria business will accept these requirements? So you will be working very closely with the QA folks, and you will ensure everything is as per the plan. Now, the next phase is BA can also do a manual or automation end-to-end testing. As I said, if you have that expertise, you will obviously go ahead and do the testings. If you do not,